Start Podcast.
And welcome back to the Press Start Podcast. I'm your host, Vic, aka Mr. Never Chillin'. This is episode number 180, and I'm joined by this week by my co host, Roderick A. Lunatic Oblivion. What's going on, bro?
Happy holidays, guys.
Happy holidays and happy headaches because, man, that was a panic before this night's episode. Discord is having some issues, so bear with us. Hopefully, it does not crash over this next hour or so. But we do got some stuff to get into before we get into our nominations for this year's Press Start Game Awards. So, nonetheless, Roger, how you been, man?
Doing all right. Holiday plans kind of fell through because Carl got sick in the car. So,
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, I've been dealing with the sickness too that I got from Kaylani, and man, just like I'm congested as fuck, couldn't breathe. My ears are like plugged. Yeah, she ended up spiking a fever last night, threw up and stuff like that. It's just like, ugh. Every time she gets sick, I get sick. Like it's guaranteed. It is
hmm
guaranteed. It's fucking
Yeah, when
insane.
Carl gets sick, I don't, which is nice. Like his nose is running like a faucet, and I'm okay over here. So I'm like,
Not
thanks.
me. Like I'm right there with you. We're running out of tissues. But yeah, man. Nonetheless, let's talk about what we've been playing over the last week or so. Kick it off to you. You played and beat a game that just shadow dropped onto Xbox, and that's Clover Pit, man. How was that experience for you?
Honestly, I loved it. It was super fun and just refreshing as a game. Like I just wasn't expecting something that enjoyable. I honestly wish there was more to it. That's kind of my biggest gripe about the game is it felt like it was almost too short.
Yeah, that's for sure. I just started. I played for what, maybe like 10, 15 minutes before we hopped into our co-op game that we were playing, and yeah, I could definitely see where the addiction, the snag for that game is. Like you're like, okay, like you're really just playing a slot machine, but there's a lot of chaos going on around you out
hmm
in between your sessions. But yeah, it's definitely a very very fun game. Be curious to see where it goes for sure. All right, man. Let's talk about our co-op game though. This week, we started playing a new game that just dropped into Game Pass as well recently, and that's Void Train. This game's been announced since, what'd you say, 2021 when it was first revealed. I think that's what you said when we were talking about
Yeah,
it.
that was when it first started early access was 2021.
And here we are in 2025, and we're finally giving it a go. But I'm gonna throw it to you real quick on your thoughts with the Void Train before I give mine.
I think the game's honestly it's okay. It's not like the best game I've ever played. It definitely the repetition, I think the grindiness of it that's going to be part of the game isn't really going to be super enjoyable, I think. But otherwise, it's a really cool concept. I think it's a not as fun version as like Raft is, for example. Like I think it lends itself from the genre Raft, and then it goes, what if we didn't do some of the good features? Like I wish there was you didn't have to work so hard to like build more space on your vehicle. It takes a lot to like expand how much area you have,
Mhm.
and it's kind of gated, whereas on like games like Raft, which are in the same genre, those things you naturally progress into them.
Right. Yeah, I definitely haven't
Like it
had like the teeth, the daggers into this one because, as opposed to like Abiotic earlier in the year when we played that, it's like, man, I felt like I wanted to keep playing that shit more and more and more and more.
Mhm.
This one, I haven't really had that yet. Granted, we've only played it one time. Maybe the train does get rolling. No, all pun intended there. Where like it really fucking gets going, and where it just starts throwing out
Mhm.
content. It gets crazy and hectic while you're on the train, and you got to collect resources, but defend and do all this other stuff. But it just definitely feels like you're just, let me grab that wood, let me grab that metal, let me grab this blob.
Mhm.
Oh no, here's a checkpoint. Let me kill a couple enemies. Back on the train, and then get to the end, and then you get unlock a new part of your train, and maybe something else, and you kind of just move on. And it's just like it's very,
Mhm.
very slow and mundane at the beginning. So we'll definitely wait to see. Like that's why I haven't really been super intrigued to play it. You've been hitting me up like a few days after we played, and you're like, "Yo, you want to play Train?" And I'm like, "No, not really." Like, 'cause
Give it a go again.
I
Like
don't,
yeah,
I don't really have any interest to play it other than on like Tuesday right now. Until it feels like I really want to play
yeah.
more of it.
Well, and that's the thing, like, I wanna try to get going on it because I wanna see if it hooks before I just waste more Tuesdays waiting to play it and then be like, this isn't the game for me."
Nah, yeah, I hear you. Maybe we could figure out some more time to get it going. But all right, man. Let's talk about some other games here. I haven't really played that much to be honest. I already talked about Clover Pit and Void Train. You know, my daily Pokemon TCG Pocket. You know, that's been going. But you've been busy still playing some games, and Switch 2. Obviously, you've been playing some big games, Kirby Air Riders and Hyrule Warriors. Are they still treating you pretty good?
Hyrule Warriors fun. Kirby Air Riders is interesting, but it's less multiplayer friendly than say Mario Kart is right now, which is interesting to me. Like
Right.
Mario Kart has way more multiplayability, if you will.
Yeah.
Whereas Kirby Air Riders, like the main story part of the game is gated behind single player content, so it's kind of like you don't really get to do much in the way of like multiplayer in some of it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I would have thought like Kirby Air Riders would have been like a pretty competitive racing game, and it was a pretty dramatically different type of racing game too compared to Mario Kart as well.
Hmm.
I mean, I could just think about back in the day when we used to play those kind of games all the time. Like even like Star Wars Pod Racer, like it's a I would say similar game to Kirby Air Riders. You know, it was always fun, but yeah,
Hmm.
interesting. But yeah, man, let's talk about the last game on my list. Game that you've been also playing with me, and that's Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Black Ops 7. For you, you have only played zombies. I played zombies and multiplayer. I'll just kick it off with some multiplayer topics, and it's like I've been playing the fuck out of this multiplayer. It's really fucking good. I am surprised to say that. Um, and it's just like they truly have been listening. Like everything that the community has wanted, they implemented in like different small ways. Like I don't know why they ever took it away, but like the ability to loop your kill streaks, right? If you went through all three of
Hmm.
them, you had to die to then earn them again, which is still the case in the game. But there's a perk called Looper where you can loop your kill streaks over and over again. But then that makes you
Hmm.
change your fucking gameplay style. So there's some trade offs like that. I remember being able to panic knife. You know, when someone comes around a corner, you just hit the melee stab. Can't do that anymore. Haven't been able to do that in Call of Duties in quite some time. They have a perk that allows you to, when you melee, it melees with your knife and you can instant kill people, just like how you used to. Again, it's a trade off. So
Hmm.
it's just like small nuances like that. Definitely appreciate the lack of like skill based matchmaking in the lobbies has been great. I mean, I played in lobbies where I completely fucking curb stomp people, and then I play in lobbies with prestige masters and get fucking rolled. It's like classic COD. Like you just never know what you're gonna get, and then the ability to stay in lobbies after each game has been pretty good too. You're like, oh man, we really like this lobby. We're gonna keep playing it, or it's like, fuck, bro, this lobby's hard as shit. Let's search for a new one. So we'll fucking search for a new lobby after that. But yeah, man, I'm playing the
Hmm.
shit out of it. I think I'm Prestige 4 already. Prestiging a bunch of guns as well. So yeah, started my gold gun grind as well. So I've been busy with that. But on the other side, zombies is also where it's at too because like it helps you level up a lot of guns if you don't feel like doing it in multiplayer. But we also got to do the Easter egg. I mean, you finally got to beat it. It took us like half the time the first time it took. But yeah, some of the quality of life updates that they gave us for like the new like more health packs on the ground, stuff like that, definitely went a long way. But what was your thoughts on the overall story of the Easter egg and where it's going? Because obviously we've seen
I
the trailer.
I think it's an interesting concept to kind of bring all of the zombie matches, like all of the zombie stories together. So now we play across all the characters from all the games, and it sort of changes how they all interact,
Mm-hmm.
which is nice. Like
Right.
I'm excited to deal with some of the interesting like things that could happen with characters from completely different stories. But also it kind of ties it together a little bit and ties into the zombies from the last game where everyone gets transported into the dark ether.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's fun.
Yeah, yeah. I would say yeah. The zombie, the Easter egg was pretty cool. The final boss was actually pretty fun as well. It just, I don't know what that final boss would really look like with 3 or 4 people because the third and fourth people are just irrelevant. Like I feel like there's not like a for them to help
Hmm.
at all. I don't know. I just feel like it's
Yeah.
missing that aspect of it because obviously like this Easter egg is designed around a 4 player in mind, but this seems like the final boss was designed around just two. So, or let
Or
alone just
one.
one, because the turret shoots by itself if you're just driving it alone. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah, really interesting there. But nonetheless, we do got season 1 dropping here in a few days, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But that's all the games I have here on my list I wanted to talk about. Anything else on yours that you wanted to talk about?
No, it's been a quiet week, I think, here.
Oh yeah, it's the holidays, busy with family and friends and sick. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and dive into the industry news this week. All right, man. Kicking it off here with the recent purchase of EA, from the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund. And they are reportedly running low on cash for new investments due to several projects that are said to be in financial distress. Was this a bad idea? It almost seems like it. What's your thoughts, Roger?
You know, I kind of saw the writing on the wall that like they they definitely just are in over their heads, and I think they were buying it for more than just an investment, but to to get their foot into the cultural door.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's more to it than just buying for the value of owning these gaming companies. Because like, let's be honest, there's not a huge value in the gaming industry. Sometimes, like a lot of projects just don't make the returns that like just straight up financial investing would make.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
investing
Everyone
into video
expects a
games is
Fortnite or
totally
Call of
different.
Duty.
Exactly my thoughts, exactly my point. Is like everyone's like hoping that they're gonna get the next big, you know, the next big cash shop, and they don't. And then they're like, "What do you mean? Why not?" Because that's
Yeah.
just not how it works.
Right. Yeah. I don't know what they really expect. Like the amount of money that needs to be invested into making these AAA games these days is a lot, and I don't think
Hmm.
that they quite understood the environment of game development, and they should have did a little bit more research and before making this investment because clearly they didn't. Um,
Yeah,
I guess excuse me, they were just basing the idea along. Oh, EA owns Madden, we're good. We're going to just print money, or college football, we're going to print money.
sports
Like,
game.
like no, that's not really
Yeah,
how this works.
I you actually have to develop them, and it takes a long time. It's not like just opening up, some financial investment and boom, you make a ton of money.
Right. So yeah, in the end, it seems like this was a
So
bad idea,
I
but
don't know.
like you said, we saw the writing on the wall.
Hmm.
But let's talk about another investment, man.
All right, so Nintendo is actually expanding. They recently just acquired Bandai Namco Studios Singapore, and they're going to be rebranding it as Nintendo and Entertainment Singapore. So, which is interesting to see that like Nintendo is buying up more studios. So, what could be in the works that they're working on now that they needed a whole new studio in Singapore?
Yeah, it definitely was interesting because obviously this is just a smaller portion of Bandai Namco. Maybe this team was just like, hey, we don't really got
Yeah.
much going on. We need to be bought up. We got some great talent. Let's go over to and work for Nintendo. But yeah, will definitely be interesting to see. But it says Nintendo plans to acquire 80% of BNSS shares of on April 1st, 2026. And it says the remaining shares will be acquired after a certain period once the subsidiary's operations have stabilized. So it will be kind of like a slower process as opposed to like some of the other acquisitions that we've seen over the past few years. But yeah, I'd be curious to see what this turns out. Like, does this bring more manpower for them, Nintendo, to roll out more games? Do they need more games? Because I feel like Nintendo has had a pretty solid slate, even just recently on the Nintendo Switch too. So definitely curious to see what
Hmm.
this purpose was. Because I feel like Nintendo makes very
Yeah.
strategic decisions. You know what I mean? Like they don't just do stuff on a whim.
Yeah, I want to wholly agree with that statement. Like Nintendo, when they do something, they usually don't miss, which is like, so what's in the works?
Yeah. Only time will tell, my friend. Only time will tell. But that is all the industry news we got this week. Let's go and move on to our gaming news. All right, man. Kicking it off here with Xbox, just a few things. First off, Sledgehammer Games is hiring developers for that have Switch experience, and this is just nonetheless to be able to bring their future Call of Duty titles to the Nintendo platform. So that's good to see that they're finally doing what they said that they were going to do during the court case. This is one thing that they actually said they were going to do and actually going to do it. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Next up, we had a surprise collaboration. I know a couple even guys in our Lunacy Arts Discord was like, might have to cop these. But Xbox and Crocs struck a deal to make some interesting shoes per se. I'm gonna get them up here on the screen for you here in just a moment. But I'm not gonna lie, like they look pretty cool. I'm not sure. Have you got to see these?
Yes, my man, Crocs, really?
Yeah, I mean Crocs are the shit. It's like some of the
Uh,
most popular
nah,
shoes in the
Crocs
world.
ain't the shit.
No, not for you. You don't like them.
Not for me. Yeah, I like normal shoes and not shoes that I just they just look so cheap and dingy.
Yeah, they're actually some of the most comfortable shoes
I
I've
can't.
ever wore, though. It's so crazy.
Mhm.
But yeah, they're super casual. But yeah, I do like them. They're especially these Xbox ones are pretty solid, and all the different gibbets, which are the little fucking like icon things, are pretty dope. That they're doing like the Doom, Fallout, Halo, Sea of Thieves, World of Warcraft. You know, a bunch of different options there. But yeah,
Mhm.
pretty solid, man. Pretty solid. But let's go ahead and move on here to the next topic, and that's just one highlight to the game. That's for Black Ops 7. Um, I'm gonna throw up the trailer for season one, which drops on just on the 4th. Um, so those Xbox shoes will make your heart crash, like Nick said. Oh man, that's funny. But yeah, I'm gonna get the trailer up here for season one. There's actually a lot to look forward to in season one. This is their biggest season yet. I mean, obviously they could say that, but I think they have like 7 new multiplayer maps. We have the new zombie map that's coming out. They're bringing 2 more survival maps, which are just 2 different parts from Ashes of the Dam. New kill streak, as you can see there. It's a sniping drone. New guns, tons of new guns. Ballistic knife is coming back. New game modes like one in the chamber, stuff like that. Um, yeah, man, it's just I haven't really been this excited for a season in quite some time, and just some of the maps are coming back, or some classics, some new ones. Just a good combination, and I'm really looking forward to the
Mhm.
whole zombie experience that we get to try the new Easter egg on, because I don't have the trailer here for the zombies, but with that the fucking truck that we drive around in the first one, like crashes on this like meteor in space or some shit. It's just like, all right, what the fuck is going on? But I'm
Yeah,
gonna
now we
actually,
don't drive anywhere again.
yeah, I'm be curious. To, like, I guess like the whole Easter egg then is like trying to repair the vehicle or something, maybe. And then how about that
Maybe
wonder
I
weapon, the fucking UFO launcher?
yes, I saw that and I was like, I'm in. I'm excited for this one because I really didn't care much for the claw. Like it was all
Yeah,
right, but like it
I
just
agree.
wasn't as fun as like say the Wonder Waffle.
Exactly. Yeah, you were like, you want the claw this time? I'm like, nah.
Now I'm good.
like,
Okay,
I didn't want it.
cool.
Like I just did not want it at all. But yeah, I definitely agree. And we're also getting Mule Kick returning as well as a perk for zombies. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think it'll come in handy. But
Hmm.
I was playing survival the other night just to level up some guns, and I'm like, I had like all the perks. And I'm like, I remember when they like limit you to 4 perks and you had to strategically pick your 4 perks. Like that mattered. And then like each perk
Mm-hmm.
had its own different value. So like which one do you get first and what order and stuff like that, that mattered. But now you just get all fucking like 13 perks and you're just you're untouchable. Like you're just
You're
never
golden.
going to die. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of missed that. I wonder if that's part of the cursed mode, like one of the relics that it'll limit you to the 4 perks or something like that. That'd be pretty cool. Which that's something that we still have to hop in and check out as well. Just try and search around to find the relics and whatnot. So and
Mm-hmm.
also we got to try out the Dead Ops Arcade 4. We got to give that a go. But yeah, man, that's all the Xbox news I got for you guys this week. What's going on in the PlayStation and the Nintendo realm?
Yeah, so PlayStation got like shadow dropped on ESRB's website for Death Stranding 2 on the beach. They ended up dropping the PC port rating, but then like it's since been removed from the site.
Oops.
But they were like, "Oh yeah, we've rated it," and they're like, "Whoa, we didn't announce it." And they were like,
Oops.
"Shit, oops,
Yeah,
sorry,
I'm going to take a big
we did
wild
that."
guess that we see this at the Game Awards.
Yeah, right. Like I saw it hit, and I was like, "Oh, I'll click on the link." Dead link. Huh. I
Imagine.
wonder why. Like, imagine.
Yeah, I thought that was
That's
pretty funny.
weird.
But it makes sense. Like the first one eventually came to PC, and it actually came to Xbox later, even further down the road
Hmm.
after the PC. So it's coming to PC soon, and then maybe Xbox down the road. We'll see.
No, I'm excited to see PlayStation put more and more of their catalog online. Like that's the thing that I think is truly important right now is putting it on the PC so that, more people can get to it, which is just like this is the most important thing I think right now is just making sure that people can get to their games because they'd be so much more competitive and I think it would be so much better for the market as we've talked about many times before.
Mm.
Like they just need competition, and Microsoft's are like, well, we don't have to do a shit because they're not doing shit. And it's like, son of a bitch.
Exactly. And PlayStation just put out like some numbers the other day. They're like, we've made $1.8 billion from putting games onto Steam or whatever on PC, and they're just like,
Hmm.
that's a lot of dollars. Like,
I
why do
don't
you
know
not?
why we don't do it more often.
Right.
Like
Ah, yeah, yeah.
that's the thing that gets me is they just like take forever to do it, and then they're like, oh, dude, we made so much money. Okay, yeah, we like, duh, we knew that.
Right.
Uh, gaming, my friend. All right, so next up we have Nintendo here. Nintendo Online or Nintendo
Switch Online.
Switch Online, thank you. Nintendo Switch Online has new additions coming. We're gonna see what's a crazy left field here. Battletoads is getting a release on Nintendo Switch Online. We're gonna see Ninja Gaiden 2, The Dark Sword of Chaos. We're gonna see Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters and Bionic Commando. I'm actually just like kind of enthralled by the fact that like Battletoads is hitting this
Right. Clearly,
because that's like
Xbox is
one of
make
those collector games.
right. Xbox is making a push, man, to push two of their titles to Nintendo, making it playable again. Yeah, I got the
Just
video up
making
here.
things backward compatible. Like
Yeah,
it's
just
so big.
like
Just
someone it was like a big talking point again on Twitter the other day. They're like, all they have to do is make all of the Pokemon games from the Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance time, and it would sell the service without a doubt. Like more
mhm,
people would sign up for it. Like I would. I mean, I already am subscribed to it, but
crazy
I would
amounts of people.
I would fucking play the fuck out of it. Like I'm dying to play Gold and Silver again or Crystal. Like I just want to play those again.
It's one of those things that it's like, is it worth it to like re-release everything that people want? Or like, should we just make new games and make more money? Like, because the problem is like I don't think they see as many subscription hits as like others do, and I think that's the big downside is like to them the subscription isn't as valuable
Right.
as just selling actual games, I think.
Yeah, no doubt. They just got their toes dipped in the water right now with the subscription service. Because I mean, hell, what is it like $50 a year or something like that?
Hmm.
I mean
It's cheap.
that's like that's like 2 months worth of Game Pass, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, here we are.
Hmm.
All right, man. One last topic here for gaming news before we go ahead and showcase our nominations this year for our Game Awards. But for Ubisoft, man, they just had a recent announcement for Far Cry TV show has been ordered by FX from Noah Hawley and Rob Mack. Um, and apparently they're going to be doing like each season in like an anthology format, which is basically how the games are told as well, because they're all like in their own specific like universe per se. Far Cry TV show Game of the Year edition. Hell yeah, you know it. Somehow they always nominate themselves for Game of the Year. But yeah, man, I actually be curious to see how this plays out because like story wise, I think Far Cry has like some pretty crazy like dope stories. It's just sometimes the
Hmm.
gameplay don't live up to it, and like the whole open world aspect doesn't always do justice for it. But are you looking forward to a Far Cry TV show, especially an FX because it could be really fucking mature. Like this could be like a really dark and gritty
Like,
kind of show.
yeah, like I'm all for like FX. I love FX. FX always has good shows, but like, am I looking for a Far Cry TV show? Didn't have that on my bingo card this year.
Hell yeah. So we'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Ubisoft is obviously invested in the whole multimedia with the Ubi. They have like the Splinter Cell. They have Assassin's Creed, the Division. Like they have a bunch of IPs
Hmm.
out there as well. But yeah, man, that's all the gaming news we got this week. I think it's time to showcase our nominations for this year's awards. What you think?
Yeah, go for it.
Hell yeah, bro. Let's get it switched over here. Got to choose the right thing and stop showing everybody what we're talking about today. Let's go to Canva. That'd be useful here. But yeah, man, it's been a really crazy year. Obviously, we can go into some depths into some of these because obviously we're going to rehash these before we announce the winner from each category on next week's show. But we do at least want to get the nominations out there for all of these games. So let's go ahead and check out our first category of the evening. We got best music, and boy, this is going to be a really fucking tough category to really choose from. But ultimately, my heart is still with Expedition 33. But what's your overall thoughts here with this category?
So I think the thing that's really important is the soundtrack has to invoke an emotion. It has to really bring you in, draw you in, and I think the soundtrack has to leave you wanting, like has to leave you feeling something. Like
Mm.
I still like one of my original thoughts is Call of Duty in which Black Op I forget, but the Vietnam War, and you're literally swinging through the jungle, and like the Rolling Stones start
Oh
playing as
yeah,
you're like flying through the jungle
Black
on a
Ops One.
helicopter,
Yeah.
and I'm like, that's a moment where you just sit there and you're like, you feel you are transported into a time, into a place, and I think that's what we need out of this best music. We need it in there's two categories that are clearly similar, and that is music and sound. And music is about that audio track that you sometimes just want to play on its own. Like that's a big thing in the anime world, for example, is these soundtracks that you sit there and you're not watching the show, you're just watching anime music videos like an
Mm-hmm.
OP or an ED, because that's what you want to hear, that's what you
Yep.
want to see, like that's what you remember sometimes.
Yeah.
And I
And
think, go ahead.
no, I was just saying I was just gonna build off of that because honestly, like I've never quite downloaded like video game music onto my phone, and I have Apple Music,
Hmm.
obviously. I started curating a video game playlist soundtrack playlist, starting with Expedition 33. I was just like, my fucking god! Like I've heard great video game soundtracks, but like bro, like from we were talking about it like when we were in the beginning of the game, we're like, yo, the music is so beautiful and elegant, and then you guys were much further ahead, and you're like, wait until it fucking takes a turn and it starts going like hardcore, and you're like, you fucking hit the spot, and you're like, oh shit, like the boss battles and stuff like that, just they start going crazy. But yeah, from time to time, man, it's just like, man, I just want to listen to some of the music from the soundtrack. So we'll see though on who wins this one. for best music. I feel like it's obvious per se, but we'll see what, because we're obviously
And
we're
we're
going to talk about it.
biased.
Yeah, we're definitely biased right now. Um, but yeah, we'll get amongst all four of us before the show and pick the winner on that. But like you said, you mentioned the other one here for best sound. That is our next category here. So this one here, we're not necessarily obviously talking about music. It's like the environmental sounds, like how the sounds can play effect into the game and whatnot. Um, I think we have another solid list here, even like including a multiplayer aspect with Battlefield 6, because my God, like that shit can really sound real as fuck. Like when the jets are flying over you, helicopters, buildings crashing, grenades going off, tanks blowing up next to you. Like there's a lot going on in that game. But it's just even like Silent Hill F. If I'm not mistaken, Philipper played a lot of this already. And like in horror games specifically, like sounds alone can make you feel grossed out or spooked per se, and it's just like that has a huge um importance into the environmental sounds. But what's your thoughts here on this category with best sound in these games that we got here?
Sometimes games don't have music, and there's no reason to have music because you're not going to sit there and be listening to music while you're like walking through, a serial murderer's, alleyway in Silent Hill. But like
Right.
on the flip side, like sometimes you just you're not sitting there in a multiplayer shooter listening to a soundtrack because you want to be able to hear the sight, you want to hear the sounds of the world around you, and it's very important to be able to distinguish between good sound design and good music, good
Hmm.
orchestrated music. And I think in this sound category, we're looking to talk about something that the ambience, the way the world is built, and I think that's what's most important here. Not about the soundtrack that like is a bop, but the sounds that transport you. You can't smell, you can't taste, but you can see and hear, and being able to really just like in those moments of genuine fear, the slight tapping of a sole of a shoe against a stone floor, or the
Hmm.
sound, as you said, of a jet flying overhead at hyper speeds behind you. It feels like it's right there.
Or when a tank drives over your head and crashes in front of you. You just never know what you're gonna get. But I want to even talk about Ghost of Yote real quick for the sound, because like sound is such an integral part of the story. Like from the wind blowing by you and the clashing of the katanas, or like the ruffle of the leaves, the enemies shouting, the animals in the world just living and growling or eating and stuff like that. Like you hear and feel everything, and then like the music that you do play in the game, like those are instruments. So like I'm not talking about the music per se, but like the sounds of the instruments, or if it could be soothing or amplify the environment and the mood and stuff like that. So I would say Ghost of Yotai, man, had a really superb sound design, just like Battlefield 6. I mean, this is a great category here, great nominations. I just wish I could talk about Death Stranding 2 a little bit more, but I do know, like, man, I heard a lot of great things with Death Stranding 2. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and move on to our next category here. This one we added right before the show, and we got best narrative. We limited here to just a five, and these ones we want to talk like really wanted to emphasize like the impact of the story from start to finish. And this one's really going to be a really tough category to pick the winner of, because there was a lot of
Mhm.
like ups and downs, some pulls on some heartstrings, some intense moments, some dark moments, even some of these games too. And you're just like, fuck, like what the hell? But yeah, man, what's your thoughts on this category here?
I think this category is going to be one of the most interesting categories, to say the least. I when when we talk about the narrative, I think it's important to talk about, the games that we continue to talk about show after show after show, and that is the games that like tell a story, that single player or multiplayer experience that really draw you in, like a good book, like a
Mm-hmm.
good song that you just can't stop listening to. And I think that this category here is one where it goes to show those games like, for example, Dispatch. It's not a game that was big on its sound design or its music, in my opinion. It was a game that was super important for many other reasons. The way it told its character's story and told a superhero story in a way that hasn't really been told as of right now, which I think is awesome.
And it was really cool to see it. Like, obviously we've seen it before. This isn't the first time, but it was an episodic like release. Like once a week, you'd get two new episodes to kind of play through and beat. Obviously, it's
Mhm.
a play off of how like Telltale used to release their games, but kind of like at the end of each section, you would just kind of be sitting on the edge to see like, fuck, what happens next? Gotta wait till next week.
Find out on the next episode.
Brings you back to the fucking Saturday night cartoons when you're watching Yu-Gi-Oh or something. Let's find out in the heart of the cards. What does he pull? Find out next week.
Yeah, it's like fucking what is it? Dragon Ball
Yeah.
Z. I'll find out on the next episode. Next episode title: Frieza dies. Damn it!
Fuck.
No, no.
Oh man, but yeah, man, I think this will be a really interesting category, and I know this. We'll see who wins. All right, next up here we got best action game. And there was a lot of those this week, and we did make a change before the show started. Unfortunately, I had to drop one of them, but I think we have a really solid list here, honestly. And shout out to Game Pass because Game Pass allowed us to play 4 out of the 6 of these games. And shout out to my daughter for almost buying Monster Hunter Wilds when she didn't. I had to get a refund on it earlier in the year. But I mean, this is going to be a tough category too. I know you have a lot to say with Wu Chang. Obviously, I played a lot with Ghosts of Yotai. I beat Doom: The Dark Ages. You weren't a huge fan of it. I really loved it. I know Inhuman, who's going to be on the show next week, has a lot to say about Ninja Gaiden 4. Philipper, if you're still in your chat, I know you played a lot of Monster Hunter Wilds. This is a really fucking solid category, bro.
I
Wait,
agree. It's just I'm excited to talk about uh just the action games themselves are those games that just like easy to pick up, takes a while to master, and I think
mhm.
it's a genre that sometimes has it has its own entire esports league with hundreds of games in it.
Right. Yeah, so we'll definitely see how this one pans out. But without action, there's also on the other side, or the same side, adventure. And there was a lot of these. This was really hard to fucking narrow down to 6. Um, and I do think that we have a really great collection here because, like, you got to think about like going on an adventure. Like we were talking about narrative, like the story from start to finish, and it's almost in the same capacity here with like adventure. Like, how does the true adventure go from start to finish? And I think we have a really solid list here on that because like some games may start slow, they build up, they work towards something. You think you reached an end, haha, gotcha, and the game's like halfway over, or just different things like that. Um, but yeah, what's your overall thoughts on these 6 games here with the best adventure?
I I honestly I'm excited to talk about some of these adventure games. These are those classic games that we know and love. Those sometimes Laura Croft adjacent games, your Tomb Raider adjacent, your Nathan Drake games. Those games that aren't really always about like shooting up or beating up bad guys, but just literally going around and exploring a world that has been designed for you.
Right. And obviously you're really reminiscing right now with Indiana Jones and a Great Circle. Obviously it came out the end of last year. I'm just glad that we were able to include it somewhere in this year's show since it missed the deadline last year because it was a really phenomenal game. I can't remember, you beat this one, right?
I haven't played it yet,
Oh, you haven't played
actually.
it? Bro, I highly recommend it. You gotta go ask mommy, okay? Um but yeah, man, like this game was really fucking good. And like I've been thinking about like checking out the DLC. Like I don't really play DLCs, but the DLC that dropped this year, I was just like, ooh, like, there's more to this story. Like fuck. But it was just like and the thing is this is coming off of a person who never watched the movies. I've
Mhm.
never watched any of the Indiana Jones movies. And I'm just like you couldn't tell me any difference that wasn't Mark no Mark Hamill, Jesus. Harrison Ford playing playing Indiana Jones.
Mhm.
Shout out to Troy Baker, man. He did a phenomenal job on that one. But yeah, definitely go play that. Any last thoughts on the adventure category before we move on?
Mm.
All right, man. We got another stacked category here with best RPG. Man, I mean, obviously, like you got the standout, but it's like we cannot downplay some of these other games because you got to think about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was like the first big game of the year. Honestly, that fucking was taking the world by storm. Millions of people playing it. I've never played either of these games, but I do know like there was a lot of talk around that. Hades 2, when that shadow dropped out of nowhere, it exited early access out of nowhere. And obviously the two big hitters from Xbox, Avowed and Outer Worlds 2, both coming from Obsidian Games, releases some monster hits there. And play on words here with Monster Hunter Wilds, I heard was a really solid RPG. But yeah, man, what's your thoughts on these 6 games in this category?
I just was excited. RPGs have always been my bread and butter, and there was clearly a standout this year that like I was expecting Avowed to be like Chef Kiss, and when it didn't land for me like I wanted it to, I was excited when we had other games that came out around it that were just so much. I still have yet to play The Outer Worlds 2 this year, but
Mm,
like playing Claire Obscura, so good.
hell yeah. All right, man. Next category here is best sports racing and fighting game. And the reason I do this like all in one because like I could put all of the sports games in there, you know, Madden, FIFA, soccer, or
Hmm.
not any of them, right? But like, were they really that good to even make a category? Probably not. And it just sucks that I couldn't include any fighting games this year because there weren't any new fighting games this year. All of the fighting games that we got this year were like remakes or like remasters of games that have already been out before, or games that are like in early access that haven't fully released yet. So I was just like, man, this shit really sucks this year for fighting games. I mean, hence a couple years ago when all of them dropped at like the same time, like Tekken 8,
Hmm.
Street Fighter, all those ones. But yeah, man, I think we have a pretty solid list here. I think it was really cool to see a competitor to Mario Kart for once because Sonic Racing Crossroads was a phenomenal racing game this year.
Hmm.
Rematch was really cool to see like that arcade spin on the whole FIFA formula, and this was kind of like playing like funny enough, it's like Rocket League but with people because Rocket League is based off of soccer anyway, so it kind of just works. And that dropped like day one into Game Pass, so that was pretty dope. And obviously, a lot of people have been playing 2K26 for basketball. Been really enjoying it. I know a couple people that have been playing it. Like, man, I'm so good at this. It's just getting boring. But there also been a lot of controversies around the game as well with the whole changing the meta in 2K forces people to then spend hundreds of dollars on like in-game currency to build a new character and stuff like that. It's a real cheeky situation, but obviously a lot of people still like to play the game. But
Hmm.
what's your thoughts on this category?
I think it's a category that has grown pretty stagnant recently. Like the sports racing and fighting games, like there just doesn't seem to be enough innovation or draw here.
Mm-hmm.
Like even Mario Kart World honestly didn't feel like amazing. It was okay. Like it was fun. I enjoyed it. But it just I don't know, didn't have the same like it just felt like the last Mario Kart with a little bit of different races. Like the fact that there are less races overall also
Mm-hmm.
kind of got me there. It was all right, but I definitely would like to see I'd like to see improvements in this genre this upcoming year. I
Mm-hmm.
hope we see some.
I think it'll be tough because like the lack of
Mhm.
competition in each like sports or whatever is what really holds the that part of the
Yeah.
games industry back is like because like back in the day like everybody could have the license to all any of the sport they wanted and make their own version of the game. Now there's one license given out for it. So like Madden is literally the only NFL game. You can make
Hmm.
arcade versions of it, but if you want to play the simulation style of football, it's only Madden. Same thing with
Yep.
basketball. It's 2K only. I mean, we had live there for a little bit, but They kept fumbling and then they took their license like, nope, you're not fucking our shit up. And then baseball has
Yeah.
been only MLB the Show for as long as I can remember. There used to be tons of baseball games back in the day. Rematch was pretty interesting because it was an arcade version of like soccer. But yeah, like without competition, there is never going to be innovation. They're just going to give you the same game every year, knowing that you're going to buy
Hmm.
it, and they don't have to make it better.
Yep. 100%. Yeah. I don't have to say anything further there. It just we've seen these sports games become gotcha games, and it's been a real problem for a while now, and it shows.
Yeah, well, people got to start voting with their wallet, man. I mean, because obviously we've seen impacts of like Black Ops, right? Black Ops 7 has sold 50% less than Black Ops 6. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, is it going to matter in the end? We don't know, but like Xbox was already like worrying and stressing about losing $300 million last year with Black Ops 6 because they released it on the Game Pass. Like, and now it sold 50% worse than Black Ops 6. Like, some maybe red flags start to go off. Hopefully, like it definitely starts to. You clearly see the impact of your wallet. It makes corporations go, "Oh shit."
Oh
But
shit, they're gonna do what now? Oh no.
yeah, so we'll definitely continue to monitor this genre or multiple genres that we group together because there hasn't been much. It sucks, but next year,
Yeah.
man, be on the lookout. It could be game of the year as well, and that's with Forza Horizon 6 set in Japan. So we'll see. All right, man. Next category here, we got best sim strategy game. This was a pretty tough category too. I think there's a front runner in my eyes, but I know that you typically like to play a lot of the sim strategy games. But what was your overall thoughts of this one?
I think this year there was a clear and distinct winner when we talk about simulation or like strategy style games. We had releases from Sid Meier. We've had Sid Meier. We've had Paradox releasing multiple games. But then we had this black horse out of nowhere this year that we knew was coming. And when it finally hit, we were kind of just like, oh shit, this is fucking awesome. And that was the altars. Like the altars was a new take on strategy mixed with that narrative, mixed with that sort of decision making style of play. And I think this is that black horse that like shows that you can do more than just make these little these little one-offs and be like, yeah, look, like we don't need the same Sid Meier's every fucking time. Like we're on Sid Meier's Civ 7 and it's not doing anything new for the genre. Even Paradox, I'm a big fanboy, but like they just don't do anything new with the genre. The Altars, that was something new. That was something that felt good about what they were doing.
Hell yeah, and that was like such an experience because it blended like that third person like action adventure game with the
Hmm.
base building and then the resource management and the relationship structure of like, oh man, if I don't fucking repair my relationship with my altars, they're gonna fucking kill me in
Hmm.
my sleep, and that's GG's because then you got to start over. There were so many
Fucking
points where
geez,
like, I
boys.
really thought about like stop playing the game because it was pissing me off that much, but like not even in like the game's bad kind of way. It was just like, fuck, this shit's hard. And like it made me
Hung
really fucking
dumpsters at this
strategize.
game.
Like I had to strategize and do better and make different decisions and stuff like that. Like this game, it's definitely one of a kind to me. I've never seen many games, if any at all, that look like this. That blends the several different genres.
No, it definitely is a fun game. I was blown away with how enjoyable it was, and when I beat it, I was kind of like, "Oh, that sucks." I was enjoying myself.
Yeah, and I loved how like there was different like paths and outcomes and just based on your decisions that you made, especially towards like started with the halfway point, but then towards the end, like several of your decisions then played like what happened at the end,
Hmm.
which I'm not going to spoil that at all. But yeah, man, shout out to the altars, man, and all the other games too. I've heard a lot of great things with Two Point Museum. Like I heard a lot of things with Two Point just in general. Like a lot of their games are really
Hmm.
cool. They really give you that true like different experience of like strategizing in different aspects because they did like the hospital, now they did the museum, they did the campuses for like colleges and stuff like that. It's just like you don't really get to see those that often. It's always like civilization, like what can I do differently with the town? I don't know. Like you said, you run out of ideas after a while, and somehow
Yeah.
you're on Civ 7. Don't know how. I guess we're just making Madden over and over and over again.
It is what it is. It's literally what it is. We just keep making the same game over and over again. We're like, I wonder if people still buy it. And it's like, yep, people still buy it, so they'll just continue to make it.
And I'm just really curious with like Jurassic World Evolution 3, which I heard was the best one out of the three of them so far. But
Hmm.
I'm just like, how many times can you redo a zombie park builder? I mean, I guess they did it with Roller Coaster Tycoon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like whatever. But it's just like, how many times can you redo the same thing?
A lot, turns out.
All right, man. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. We got a lot more categories to get to, so let's go ahead and check out our best proper pooper. This is the best mobile game of the year. Man, this was one of the hardest fucking categories to put together. As big as mobile gaming has become, there weren't really a ton of new mobile games that were good or even
Hmm.
ranked anywhere. Obviously, Destiny Rising was a late bloomer, but that was a different take on Destiny, bringing it to the mobile platform. Persona 5 coming to the mobile platform. Sonic Rumble was a different take. That one was like reminded me of like when Mario Go came to the phone. It was like that auto runner, collect this, do that, move on to the next level. Very similar here with Sonic. And do not even know how to say the last one here, but Umama Sumi, Pretty Darby. Let's see how
Pretty
great that was.
derby. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can just say pretty derby.
But I heard. I mean, I guess this one was doing really well, so this will be an interesting category to pick our winner on. I just wish that there was more competition in the mobile games, but we'll see. Seems like that's where the gaming industry is heading anyway.
Hmm.
All right, man. Moving on. Actually, did you have any thoughts on it before we move on?
I think the mobile market is one of those markets that I like. I only really get into when it's a game that's on the computer or on my already used the way I already intake video games.
Right.
And it's just one of those weird places where it's like I don't really care much about it, and it's just an extension of my gaming on computer a lot of times.
Right. So you don't usually just play like PC or mobile exclusive type games.
Nah, because then you get addicted to them half the time, and you're like, I don't want to put this down, and it's like I just want to game on my computer though, and now I'm sitting here playing this mobile game.
Right. All right, man. Next category we got here is best DLC, and my God, I was so excited to put this one together because there was a lot of heavy hitters in this one from some of my favorite games of all time. Like obviously, Liza P was our game of the year back 2 years ago. Can't believe it's been that long already. But the DLC, which I have not gotten to, I heard did wonderful numbers. Another 10 out of 10 for me was Sea of Stars. That got a DLC drop this year. I know you were really big into Atomic Hearts. I wasn't the biggest fan, but I know you really enjoyed it. But this was their third or fourth DLC. Indiana Jones was one of my favorite games. They came out the Order of the Giants DLC. And then Rain World, which is a really big game, came out with their DLC called The Watcher. So I mean, there was a lot of great DLCs, and I'm glad that we were able to put together a category for this one. But yeah, man, what
Hmm.
was your overall thoughts on this one this year?
I think like the DLC is a category I slept on this year. Like the only DLC I really got was for a Paradox game this year. I didn't really get any other DLCs.
Yeah, that's one thing I've always struggled with in gaming in general. Was like it's always hard to go back to a game that you
Hmm.
already beaten to play a DLC because then you
Yeah,
actually have to like relearn the game over again. And that's always like my biggest thing is like when I'm trying to play through and beat a game and I put it down for too long and I try to get back to it, I have to start the game
good
all
game.
the way over because I I don't know. I feel weird. I feel like I
Yeah,
have to learn the game, and learning the game halfway through the game is not a good idea. But
yeah.
I know some DLCs kind of do a really good like introductory like refresher sometimes. So that's always really good. But yeah, hopefully we can get better at DLC playing. Next up, we got best indie game, and this might be the hardest category out of all of them. Not even gonna lie to you. I see too many like damn near 10 out of 10s on my list on out of these six. Damn near. I feel like there's two 10 out of 10s guaranteed. But like, holy fuck. I've played all of these except for Dispatch. I think you probably played all of these except for Sword of the Sea. I could be wrong.
Hmm. Yep.
So we have a lot of knowledge going into this game and into this category. And there was a lot of games where, oh, you should try this game. I don't know, man. Try it. Fuck, bro. This game's good.
Yeah.
And I can say that for
There
two of
was a
them.
lot of that this year.
Blueprints was a game that I said this game's fucking dope. You're like, I don't know. You finally played it, and you're like, fuck, dude.
That game was really good.
And then same thing with Ball Pit. I was like, should I even try it? And you're like, hey, why not? Fucking tried it, bro. I'm hooked. I got the fucking itch.
I can't stop playing Ball X Pit.
Yeah. So
Yeah, no, I felt that.
yeah, so obviously this is this is going to be a really tough category to choose. Obviously, because like obviously we just have the one outlier that could clearly sweep every category that it's in if it wants to, and that's being Expedition 33. But we're trying to make it fair in a certain aspect because we have to break it down to like the how big it was, the importance in it, the impact, stuff like that. So we'll definitely we'll wait and see, and hopefully we choose the right one. Next up is Best Remake and Remaster, my favorite category that I wish the Game Awards had. The official Game Awards, I should say, or any of the other ones, because I don't think they have a category for Best Remake Remaster. This is where this category for all of these games belong into, not Game of the Year. And this was actually a pretty solid year for like remake remasters. Obviously, Solid Snake, or Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. I was always trying to figure out why did they remake the third one, not realizing the third one is technically like chronologically the first game. So I was like, okay, it makes sense. Um, but yeah, man, like Oblivion remastered what did really well when that first came out. Like, holy fuck, that put up a lot of numbers. Nintendo surprised everyone with the Mario Galaxy and Galaxy 2 remake or remaster, I should say. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4, you're just unlocking like childhood memories playing through that game. Xenoblade Chronicle X. I played through I think the first or the second one. I forget which one I have on the Switch, but it was just like it's a pretty solid game. System Shock was always pretty dope. Can't believe it's been 25 years since that one first released. But yeah, man, what's your overall thoughts on this category and these games?
I think it's a category that we both can agree because we came up with it 2 years ago now
Mm-hmm.
that we added this, and it was the discussion that like there has to be a category for the games that like just shouldn't be in the Game Awards, things that a remake and a remaster, it's hard because sometimes you're like, yeah, I think the game, like when they take this game, they re-release it, but they do a ton of stuff to it. And it's a whole remake of the game. Like, for example, Resident Evil, when they completely redo the game,
Mm-hmm.
just keeping the story, I think is awesome. But like on the flip side, like it takes away from new IPs. Like if I was looking at Claire Obscure and I went, oh, it lost to, Resident Evil, I'd be pissed as hell.
Right,
Because like Resident Evil, unless it's a brand new Resident Evil, had its chance. Claire Obscure blew the doors off of the place.
right. Yeah, that was always my biggest gripe is like that story itself already had its time at winning Game of the Year. It didn't, so it shouldn't have another chance to do it again. It has to be a brand new game. But yeah, sometimes it is hard to decide like whether what game is a remake and which one is a remaster. Because like Oblivion to me is a remake. Like we've had this conversation before because like they built it on an entire new engine. That's a
Mhm.
remake. Like you had to remake the game. It's not like you just enhanced the graphics on the same engine and that's a remaster. But
Mhm.
Oblivion is still considered a remaster, so it's like really fucking confusing on what is what. But yeah, I'm glad to see that we decided to make this category. This is going to be a tough one to choose in the end, but we'll see, man. Next up, we got best new IP. Um, I know we had a conversation with Split Fiction about how it's not really a new IP, could be an IP. I also have some internal thoughts on Avowed because Avowed is technically part of the Pillars IP, so it's like, but it's like its own thing. So I have my issues with that. But obviously, like the big two heavy hitters, I would say, is Arc Raiders and Expedition. Like these games have taken the games industry by storm this year. Um, so it's gonna be hard to not choose one of those two. But like playing through South of Midnight, like that was such a touching game, and just to be able to see the deep dark South told in a way that South of Midnight really did. Yeah, the combat lackluster. I mean, you can actually skip all of the combat in the game if you wanted to.
Mhm.
Like that's how irrelevant it is. It just adds another take to the game, but it was always about the story in South of Midnight, and I love the art style and like how you can either play it in like the stop motion or not the stop motion. Like that was pretty badass. But yeah, man, what's your thoughts on this one?
I I think this category is an interesting one because sometimes you don't know if something's a new IP or if it's just temporary, like just a one-off game.
Right.
And I think that's super important here to kind of address is like, are they going to continue the story? Is the story continuing after this, or is it just like, oh, we did it and that's it? We're moving on. Because like that happened with when we talked about Split Fiction. Is it really going to be a new IP? Like the developer has done the same thing every time, and that is they don't really remake game, like they don't remake stuff in the story. Like we've seen that with the fact that like for example, it takes two or
A Way Out.
a way out. Thank you. They haven't been remade, and so I kind of just I'm wondering what will happen there. I think we're gonna see just another brand new game from them, which I'm excited for. I loved their game so far every time. So
Hell yeah. All right, man. Next category we got here is best ongoing game. Um, this is a really tough one, honestly. To choose amongst these four. Like we talk about No Man's Sky, like it's like a running joke. It feels like every episode we talking about them because they have a new update coming out, and it's like not small. It's fucking massive, like massive amounts of content. And this game has been going ongoing for how long now? Like it's crazy. Obviously, the Helldivers 2 is just continuing like the whole metaverse as well as like the outside of the game inclusion is pretty dope. Fortnite, I mean, come on, like Fortnite is just absolutely bonkers, like what it does and the new content, new spins. Like the most recent update, they added like the revive bus or the van that you could do in that game. You could drive that motherfucker around. You could throw your people in the back of the bus and revive them, or you can. It's insane. And obviously with Marvel Rivals, like it's still new. I would say compared to these
mhm.
other games, but the constant flow of update, new characters, new maps, stuff like that, is still keeping it pretty a pretty relevant game. But yeah, man, what's your overall thoughts on this category?
I I think it's something we need to talk about is like when games give themselves the labor of love, you don't want to it's the same thing with the remake and remaster. Like you don't want to cut them out of the equation altogether because they're not brand new. But like you still want to like mad respect for the things that literally define the industry. Like if we didn't talk about Fortnite, could you really talk about video games in general lately? Like they are the gaming industry. Like the gaming industry is built around them right now and their success.
Yep,
It
it
would
is pretty
be it
crazy.
would be a lie to say that they are not defining the industry.
Can't say it any better than that. Fortnite has been insane. Yes, you guys, mommy, okay? All right, man. Next one we got here is best new multiplayer game. Put together a really solid list here, and my take on this category is like it's different than like the Game Awards. Like when they do the multiplayer aspect, they do like also like two-player co-op games included in their multiplayer, which I split the category into two. Where when I think of multiplayer games, I think of like competitiveness in when it comes to multiplayer games, and that's why this list here I think is really solid. Obviously, Battlefield 6, Black Ops 7s were the two heavy hitters, and then Arc Raiders coming out of nowhere, like blowing people out of the water. Delta Force was really solid when it dropped into day one. Ready or Not, like took the competitive industry there for a little while. Mario Kart World was a new big racer this year. But yeah, man, there was just a lot to play. Imagine trying to do season passes for all six of these at the same time.
Season what now?
But yeah, man, what's your thoughts on this one here?
So multiplayer games, I think, is a category that's needed, and like all of our categories, I'm gonna say the same thing over and over again, but as a category that's needed because we need to like understand that sometimes like there are simps for these multiplayer games, and if we don't, respect the fact that like they have a fan base, and it's not like they're a bad game, it's just they're not everything in the industry. Like Call of Duty, for example, has a huge fan base, but it is not the only game in the industry. So, like, are they really innovating, making the industry better? I don't think so. But like to address the you know to address the dark contender in the room here, like Battlefield 6 is really the reason why Call of Duty is changing any of
Everything.
its tune this year and actually trying, is because they're like, oh shit, there's somebody actually going to make a game. Oh fuck.
Yes. Yeah, Battlefield 6 has been so impactful this year. It's been nuts. Like to see the going back on or the changing of in Black Ops 7 has been insane. And like when them putting out like free fucking weekends to play Black Ops 7 or Black Ops 6 at the time because they were so scared about losing people to Battlefield 6 was insane.
Hmm. And they were like, okay, oh, you have criticism? All right, we're ready. We're listening.
I've never seen Call of Duty like respond like that in so long. It's been so long since well before Modern Warfare, the first reboot of the game.
And all I've been saying this whole time is the industry just needs a little bit of competition, and all of a sudden, people lose their goddamn fucking minds.
Right. And not only did Call of Duty have Battlefield 6, it also had Arc Raiders. And then you see what Arc Raiders did. It made, like, I don't know how much of an impact it did, but for Call of Duty to include their own, like, extraction shooter again with
Mm.
the end game content, like, to try and be relevant in that space too, it's just, they're worried. They're definitely on their toes right now, or on their heels, I should say.
Hmm.
Um,
They're worried that they're no longer the cool kid in town.
Hell yeah. I mean, it's so crazy. Like when I'll be talking to random people and they're talking like my brother in law. He was like, "Yo, bro, you play Ready or Not?" I haven't. He was like, "Yo, this game's so dope, so fire and shit like that." I'm like, "Yo, that's crazy." And then like Delta Force, like I hopped into Delta Force and I was like, "This is basically like Timu Battlefield, but like it did like Battlefield in such a
Timu
different.
Battlefield,
It
boys.
was like a combination of like Battlefield, but like with Call of Duty gameplay or gunplay, and I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. Like that felt really cool, but
Well, this is fucking pod racing over here.
but it just didn't keep me around, obviously. But because
Mhm.
I knew I wasn't going to have anybody else to really play that with. Like I know I'm going to have people to play Battlefield 6, Black Ops 7. And to be honest, I've been losing all of my players to Arc Raiders. Like, no, bro, I'm playing
Yep.
Arc Raiders tonight. And I'm like, fuck. Like it's so insane.
Yep. And eventually Arc Raiders will disappear and another game will take its place, but it's how they definitively how they're
Defining.
defining the genre. It
Yeah.
really is super important.
I think it was Inhuman actually brought up like said it, and he was just like, what Arc Raiders is doing is what Fortnite did to battle royales. When
Hmm.
battle royales first dropped, it was all about PUBG, and then like a bunch of these other ones came out. Fortnite also came out, and like Fortnite just fleshed it all out and just became the mainstream battle royale game. There's been
Hmm.
tons of fucking extraction shooters out for quite some time, and we're talking about like Escape from Tarkov being the OG, right? And then all
Hmm.
these ones come out. Arc Raiders flushes all of these ideas out, and now they are the big fucking extraction shooter. Like Arc Raiders could be around for forever, just like Fortnite. Like that's how big Arc Raiders could be. Only time will tell, though. All right, man. Next up is the best co-op game, and this was a really fun one to put together. Obviously we had Peak, which we played a lot of this year. Borderlands 4 was a really solid release, returned to its roots. Lego Voyagers is really more of like a chill kind of experience for the co-op gamers, which I'm really looking forward to checking out one day. I know you played a lot of Donkey Kong Bonanza with your wife. You played a lot of Split Fiction. If I'm not mistaken, you also beat that with her. We have not gotten around to Grounded 2, but we have played Grounded 1, never beat it. But this one has done everything that the first one should have did and apparently better. So this was a really solid list of co-op games, and going to be a really tough one to choose from.
Mhm.
What's your thoughts on this category?
Um, I think this category is a no-brainer this year, as it is every year that this company is in the running. Split Fiction, I think, is one of those games that's gonna just sweep because it in my opinion, in the running for game of the year, or it should be, it was, but it just hit so early that it left the zeitgeist.
Mm,
But it was such an impactful, fun, enjoyable game. I could not put it down, and I think it just goes to show there are just some games out there that are just they're it.
yeah, they are special. All right, man. Next one here is Game of the Year. Um, it's gonna be a tough one, but I feel like I have my vote per se. But like, I have a lot. I played two. I'm about to finish my third one out of the six of these, and all three of them could end up being 10 out of 10s this year. Like it's so crazy to me, like how great of a year that we've had.
Hmm.
But it's just like when you just have that one outlier, it just makes everything else seem irrelevant. Like Expedition 33 in my eyes is the greatest game I have ever played. And I don't think anything else comes close to it. Like, and I'm saying that like over Halo. Halo 1 and 2 was my favorite for the longest. Like this game was just revolutionary in my opinion. But what's your overall thoughts on the biggest category of the show?
I think our choices, I think it's weird this year. Like there were some like definitely games that had to be there, that like these are game of the year. But then there were some games that were just sort of like, eh.
Mm-hmm. No,
So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm interested in what actually wins the game of the year, not our show, but like just in general this year.
Mm-hmm.
But there were some that just like really deserved to be there, and not many that did deserve to be. It's a weird year, I think, for gaming, where a lot of years we have like six big hits, and we're like, whoa, and we know one's gonna win. But like this year, we had like two or three big hitters.
Right. And usually, if like some years we're like, damn, this game got snubbed. I didn't really feel like there was a game that like feel like it absolutely had to be on the list. I just felt like
Mhm.
we had a really solid six. But yeah, man, really excited to discuss the winner of this year's game of the year. But one last category is the most anticipated game of 2026, or in the future altogether. But a lot of these are slated for next year. Obviously, they could change. Like GTA 6 keeps changing. Um, it's going to be a tough category to choose from. This is more of like a personal choice. Like everyone has a certain tie to one of these games per se. Um, so I'd be really curious to see on what we vote for on this one. What's your
Mhm.
thoughts?
Most anticipated, like I feel like is a meme, because like look at last year, for example.
Hmm.
We were like, GTA is gonna be the
Yeah.
most. Oh shit, man! It's not. What?
Right. So at any given moment in the gaming nature that we live in now is like games get delayed all the time. And shout out to Cyberpunk because before then games, they got delayed, just not as often as they do now.
Yeah, people are like, you know what? We want to make sure we at least release something as close as possible to a gem. We don't want to release some complete garbage.
And then try to polish it and hope for the best.
Yeah, because everyone looked at Cyberpunk and they went, "Oh shit, dude, we gonna get fucked if we do that."
Yep.
I
And
mean, you should. Like,
right.
if you're gonna
And,
release garbage,
but the thing is
yeah.
like they're going to be an outlier because they released garbage, but they fucking recuperated and have this amazing like recovery arc. And like they
Hmm.
just put out numbers the other day. They've sold over 35 million copies of that game. Like
Hmm.
that's a lot. Like that's not no small number in any fucking capacity. Like that's a lot, especially for a game to go through what it went through. And to think what
Yeah,
it could have been if it didn't fuck up at the beginning. Because I'm sure that there were a lot of people that bought it or didn't buy it because of how bad the release was.
yeah. And like for some, there was no problem with the release. It just was such a weird mixed bag for that game.
Had no issues on my Series X. And the thing is,
Same, dude.
I played
My
it without
PC
the
works
next.
great.
And the thing is, I didn't play the next gen update because it didn't come out until like years down the road. But that's a game that also has a really solid DLC that I never got to with Phantom Liberty. But yeah, that is all of our awards for this year's show. Make sure you tune into next week. We will have 2 guests on our show with Inhuman Line and Scobie1 returning to the show, where we're going to reveal all of the winners from the show, and then we will be covering the official game awards live on that Thursday after the show as well. But Roger, any last closing remarks before we end this week's show?
Nope.
All right, man. We do want to thank everyone who came through and checked us out live today on Twitch, and anyone who does check us out later on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you may listen to us at. But Roger, where can the community find you at?
Hey, man, I'm always here and on Discord.
And you can check me out at Twitter at Mr. Never Chillin _. Facebook is Vic Brubacher for any questions, concerns, if you want to come on the show. If you want a game, hit me up on Xbox as X Never Space Chillin, or PlayStation at VBrew24. Follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv /Mr. Never Chillin for any video game streams and live pack openings as well. So be on the lookout for that kind of content. But we do want to thank everyone again. And until next week, peace.
Restart Podcast.